Hi, this is the Love Your Life Show with Susie Pettit, Certified Life and Wellness Coach. Join Susie as she helps you with your wellness and mindset so you can live a life you love. Let's go, warriors!
Hello and welcome to the Love Your Life Show. It is me, Susie Pettit, your certified life and parent coach, and I am thrilled that you clicked play today. Whether this is your first episode or your 254th, the things I teach on the Love Your Life podcast and in the future Love Your Life School have the potential to change your life. They do. And yes, that sounds big. Yes, that sounds monumental. And it is. It is big, it is momentous, and it's achievable. I see change happen all the time around me. I see it in my own life because of the coaching I've done, and I see it in my clients' lives. When I am open and honest with my coach, she helps me see my thought errors, to see where my brain is running some sort of pre-programmed drama on repeat. And then I use one of my many cognitive tools or techniques that I've studied in my life. And the way I experience life and my actual life experience changes. True story, and I see it all the time. Okay, I do have to note, I need to slow that down in case I said that super fast, that there are two pieces to life change. Okay, yes, to noticing my thinking, becoming aware of how I'm thinking about the things that are happening in my life. And then, what did I say? I use one of the tools. Simpler put, I take action. Okay, we have so much information available to us, and it often is not a question of what else do I need to learn, or what other training do I need to take, or what other book do I need to read, but more it's like, what do I need to do? Life is not all about sit, think, and it will happen. Okay, it's not listen to a podcast and things change. Yes, when we start to see things differently, we can't help but start to shift. That's part of why I do this free podcast, to get people's thinkings to start to shift. Okay, but intentional, deliberate action is where the life change is at. And that's what this episode addresses. It accelerates the life change. That's why I love coaching. So the last several episodes of the Love Your Life Show were intense. Okay, if you listened in, we talked about a life list, the future store, and discerning between our inner coach, our inner rebel, and our inner critic. Each of these episodes are worth taking action on, that if you literally dive into any one of those, or really any of the episodes of the Love Your Life Show, you take like one focus for a year, your life will change, which is part of why I'm doing the Love Your Life School coming up. Okay? And I hope that you did and do take action on them. I hope you got out your Love Your Life journal and took the time and action to cement that learning in. However, the reality is, in all of our full and busy lives, that without some support and accountability, most of us move on to the next podcast episode or the next task at hand, which is why I'm starting the Love Your Life School in the fall. So learn more about that. Get on the wait list at smbwell.com/lifeschool. You know me. I'm the biggest believer in investing in my growth and learning as a human, in expansion and growth. And since you're listening to this podcast, I know you're the same. Okay, the Love Your Life School is going to be the place to support you in these two pieces of life change that lead to life satisfaction. Cleaning up and becoming aware of our thought errors, and taking specific action steps that are appropriate for you and your unique situation. Since the school doesn't open till September though, today I want to remind you of two of my favorite ways to start taking small shifts in life to see big results. First, we need to remember the facts of human behavior, in that the best way to make big changes in your life is actually counterintuitive. Big, lasting change comes from small, daily shifts. The key words there are small and daily. Consistency is queen. It's like habit formation crack. And so the behavior needs to be small enough that we actually do it. We want to create new patterns, and we do it by starting small. Right now, we have lots of little habits and patterns that we do daily. Okay, maybe we automatically turn the TV on when we enter a room, or we automatically grab a handful of almonds when we walk by the pantry, or we automatically pick up our phone when we're waiting in line, or we automatically hit snooze once or twice each morning, or we automatically finish everything on our plate without even checking in if we're full or still hungry. or we automatically ignore our schedule or the plan for the day if someone else has a need or a demand. Oh, geez, I could go on and on with our automatic habits because our brain likes to lay habit loops. It's how we get through our day without going insane. What I, as a coach, help people see is whether these daily repeated behaviors, also known as habits, are leading you towards the future you want or away from the future you want. One of the most impactful things we can do is a bit of a daily audit or a day audit. Okay, just one pausing every now and then and asking, how am I spending my time? How am I spending my days? I'm reminded of Socrates' famous quote, an unexamined life is a life not worth living. It's kind of harsh, and you know me, I might be a bit kinder than that and shift his quote, sorry Socrates, to something that's like an unexamined life is a life that's not fun to be living. Or an unexamined life does not lead to life satisfaction. Oh, or this, an unexamined life leads to lifetime regret. Okay, and so let's do something about that. Listeners of this show are into self-growth and self-actualization and becoming the best us's we can be. That comes with reflection, awareness, mindfulness, and action. What can you do about that right here, right now? Pause and see how the life you're living, the small things you're doing daily, are they leading you towards that future we spoke of in episode 252 or away from it? If you can right now, pause the episode and sit down with a pen and paper and ask your brain, what are the top things I do daily to move me towards my goals? What are the top things I do daily that move me away from my goals? Sometimes goals is a triggering word for people, so let's another way to word those questions. Or what are the top things that I do that are helpful for me? And what are the top things I do that are unhelpful for me? Okay, many of the women I work with, myself included, have a big shame trigger. It's like we're wrong for scrolling our phone when we're in line, or we're bad because we eat the handful of almonds or M&Ms when we walk by the pantry. Shame and judgment don't create long-term lasting habit change, which is why I word the questions the way I did. I like to ask if the things I do are helpful or unhelpful for me, because that takes the shame, the judgment, even the emotion out of it. Think of it without the judgment and shame, as in like, this is what I do. And ponder, is this leading me where I want to be going? When I'm doing this, like when I'm doing this as Susie here, I imagine myself as a wise, kind, sort of future Susie, looking at present day Susie with kindness and a kind of like, hey, hun, is that helping? How's that going for you? This nice, not shame or judgment way. Okay, so once you've written the answer to those questions on what you're doing daily or weekly that's helping you and what you're doing daily or weekly that's not helping you, let's look at how to shift some of those daily repeated behaviors in a way that is helping you. Okay, these are the top 2 habit formation tools that I love to use. The first one is called Start, Stop, Shift, and the second is pairing. I chose these 2 because they're simple to remember, and of all the brain hacks and the tools and the studies that I've done, these are the ones that clients report give them the best results. And I want that for you. So let's go. First, Start, Stop, Shift. Choose a habit or behavior that you want to start, that you'd like to shift or stop. Think of it like a traffic signal. What can you do more of, less of, stop entirely? So I like to think of an area of my life and focus on that for a whole week, okay, or a month or a year. It doesn't matter, just do something. So here are some examples of how this habit tool could work. Say you're interested in getting healthier, okay, for the summer or for whenever. Okay, so you start daily exercise, you stop weeknight drinking, and you shift your sleep habits by going to bed 20 minutes earlier. Okay, get specific. Say you want to get rid of some of the clutter around the house. You start scheduling 5-minute daily declutter sessions. You stop buying new things. And you shift how you manage things when they come into the house. Like mail, you touch it once. Kids' shoes, they go in the bin, etc. Say you're interested in feeling less overwhelmed. So you start dumping your brain on paper for a minute a day. You stop saying the auto yes. Like when you're asked to do something in person, push pause and say you'll get back to them. And you shift the language you use around your schedule or calendar from I have to do this to I'm choosing to do this. Say you're interested in like yelling or nagging less as a parent or a spouse. Okay, start a yelling or nagging log. What I mean by that is you write down what was going on, what you were doing right before you yelled or nagged, what you yelled or nagged about, and how you felt after. Okay, that would be the start. The stop would be to stop blaming your kids or your spouse for your yelling or nagging, either aloud to them or internally in your head. Stop blaming someone else for your behavior. And shift your mindset by reading a book on relationships. I'll put my link on my favorites in the show notes at smbwell.com/254 or on parenting. Okay. I could go on and on with examples of this start, stop, shift tool. It works really well with all types of clients because it allows us some wiggle room. It allows us to look at what we're doing well while giving us the encouragement to make a shift with things that aren't working. Okay, choose one area of your life and try it this week. Hop in our free Facebook group and let us know. What will you start, stop, and shift? Okay. Before I go on to the next tool, I want to share a pro tip that's coming up for me now while I'm recording this. That when you're starting a new habit, like you're starting something new, or you're stopping, or you're using this new tool, or you use the next tool, please start with the smallest version of that new behavior. Okay, what we usually do when we decide to start something new is we think of our ideal day or of us like at our perfect, it's like wind blowing in our hair self and plan for that. Okay, what I mean by that is like, say I want to get in better shape, like my first example, I said you want to get healthier and you start, stop, shift, and you just decide you want to start exercising. Maybe you're like, okay, I decide I want to walk for 30 minutes a day. Okay, but if you're walking 0 minutes a day, going to 30 is a crazy percentage raise. So we want to choose habits for our worst day, not our best day when the rainbow's out, the dinner's not burnt, and the kids are all cheerful. Okay, how about what will we do for exercise when the kids are sick, the fridge is empty, and your shoulders feel tight enough to snap? What could you do on that day? I'd say take a 0 off your goal of 30 and choose 3 instead. You know you're headed in the right direction if your new behavior is small enough, if your brain says it's too small to make a difference. It's not, dear brain. Okay, if you set a goal of 30 minutes a day instead of if you set a goal of 3 minutes a day instead of 30 minutes a day, no matter what, that's just your base minimum. You're like, no matter what, I will get 3 minutes of exercise in a day. Then on the days the kids are sick or dinner's burnt or the fridge is empty, you're much more likely to find a way to get 3 minutes in than 30. Okay, I can already picture you getting your 3 minutes in by walking up and down the stairs for 3 minutes. Go you. My point here is to think of your worst day and then choose a bare minimum that you would get done on that day and start there. Trust me, I'm a habit and happiness expert. This works. Okay, when your brain says it won't work, it's too small, might I remind you of the definition of insanity? And I'm reminding you this nicely. But you doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result, is insane. Okay, so maybe try it my way this time, just for, maybe a week or so, sweetheart. And then let me know of your progress. Messy action creates massive change. All right, now I can get back to habit change tool number 2, which I call pairing. This is all about sort of tricking your brain in a kind way. The brain's goal is to keep us alive. Okay, its only goal is for us to survive. And to do that, the brain is the most productive mini computer in the world. It is wired to repeat behaviors over and over if we've done them before and survived. Okay, it doesn't care if the behaviors are moving us towards our goals or not, or, are helpful for us, the questions that I asked at the beginning. It's just like, are you alive? Okay, check. So if we always have a glass of wine when we get home from work or when the kids go to bed, the brain will do everything in its power to repeat that behavior over and over. because in its little mini computer place, it's like, you're still alive, right? Our brain doesn't care about the extra 15 pounds, the internal inflammation, the depressant nature of alcohol, how groggy we feel in the morning. Our brain asks the question, are you alive? Okay, job done. Okay, and understanding that the brain will come up with excuses as to why we shouldn't change our habits or behavior, we can overrule it. That's our power. Homo sapiens sapien. We get to think about what we think about. One way of doing this is to pair something positive with a desired new behavior. Okay, for example, say you love to read. I love to read. I do not love exercising on my elliptical. However, I do love to read. So I pair reading with ellipticaling. I have a reading rack that allows me to get a great workout in on the elliptical while reading some of my favorite books. Okay? Some of my clients cannot stand doing laundry. And their laundry builds up and builds up. And so they have saved some of their favorite podcasts to listen to when they're folding laundry. They tell their brain, they're like, can't listen to the Love Your Life show unless I'm folding laundry. And then they're all bopping around. If that's you right now, yay you, I see you. Okay. Others are trying to maybe shift their health and sleeping habits and getting to bed a little bit early. And so they keep their favorite crossword book by their bed for them to do as a reward when they get into bed at the agreed upon time. Or actually, I just heard of a client doing this because she's trying to keep her phone downstairs. And when she plugs her phone in downstairs, then she gets to do her Sudoku. Okay. What do you like to do? How can you pair that with a new behavior that you'd like to start doing? Okay. Another way to do this is this pairing habit tool is to look at the things you automatically do, like making coffee or brushing your teeth or walking the dog, and pair a new behavior with that already automatic habit. It's like sticking it on there. For example, many of my clients prime their brain for the day when their coffee is brewing. They already have the habit of brewing their coffee. That's not something they have to think about or they have to talk themselves into or like, okay, today I'm going to brew the coffee. No, they just do it. And so then they use that time that their coffee's brewing to think of things that are going well in their lives. Okay, and maybe say any affirmations they're working on. Brain priming and coffee, done. Or while brushing my teeth at night, I like to do a wall squat. It supports my core and it supports my aging knees. Or when walking your dog, maybe you could practice mindful breathing to release cortisol, the stress hormone. We know just paying attention, the breath coming in, breath coming out for 3 breaths, it can lower our cortisol. Pairing works really well. It feels easier than starting something like fresh or from scratch. So give this some thought so you can take deliberate, intentional action. Okay, how could you use this tool of pairing in your daily life? And share what you're gonna do in the free Facebook Warrior Woman group, okay, for accountability. That's how we cement it in. Now it's up to you. I'm a firm believer that life can and should be grand, that we are here to live lives we love. And after listening to the last episodes on the Life List, the Inner Rebel, and the Future Store, what are some changes that you'd like to start, stop, or shift? Where are you feeling a little flat in your life? Okay, choose an area of your life where you're not feeling great or where things you're doing aren't helpful or supportive of yourself. Choose one of the above tactics and let us know what you're doing in the group. When we can make things habitual, our life is so much easier. Life is made up of the small things we do over and over and over, and stopping and paying attention to it is so helpful. That handful of goldfish or M&Ms or almonds or the glass of wine does make a difference, as does walking for 3 minutes or taking 3 deliberate breaths. So what would you like to start, stop, and shift today? What could you pair? And hey, if no one's yet told you today, you are awesome, dear warrior. Oh my gosh. Saying awesome reminded me, I almost forgot of the awesome warrior of the week. Woo! There are 2 ways to become a warrior of the week. If you leave a review on Apple Podcasts for the show, you could become a warrior of the week, or you could support the show financially for a very small amount on patreon.com/Susie Pettit. This warrior of the week is someone who left a review on Apple Podcasts, and her screen name is Emotionally Healthy Legacy. She left a 5-star review and said, I love listening to Susie. Her energy is so kind and warm. I've learned so much from her. The way she talks makes it so easy to understand the topic that is covered. Thank you so much for such a great podcast. And thank you so much, Emotionally Healthy Legacy. And hey, dear listener, could I ask that if you found value from this show, could you please take 3 minutes and leave a review on Apple Podcasts? It is how this show gets out to more people and we help more people live lives they love. And if you've already left a review, could you think of someone you love and support that you could send this habit building tool to, episode to? The more of us out here hacking our brain for long-term life satisfaction, the better this world is. Thank you. Thank you so much for supporting me and the show, for leaving a review, for becoming a Patreon, for sharing the show. It touches my heart in a way that is hard for me to explain. So thank you. And I am at the end now, and let me send love vibes out to you. Okay, if no one has told you yet today, I love you. You matter to me. Listeners of this show are special humans. I call you warriors for a reason. You listen in. You take action. Your heart is pure. Please remember, you are amazing and awesome. On all your days, your light is needed. I invite you to practice one or both of these techniques this week. Big love to you, my dear warrior.
Thank you for listening to the Love Your Life show. If you want to hear more from Susie and support the show, be sure to subscribe to this podcast on iTunes. Also, leave a review and share this podcast with friends and family. Go get 'em, warriors.